Hi, I'm Matt Asner.
And I'm Navah Asner.
And we're the founders of the Ed Asner Family Center. And this is your opportunity to get out there and walk because we're having a walk.
So get together with your grandmother and your relatives and join a team or found a team and, help us to continue supporting the special needs community.
Thank you very much. We'll see you there.
Hi, I'm Isabella Hoffman.
I'm Atticus Baldwin, and we're walking for the Ed Asner Family Center.
Yes, we are.
We are walking for the Ed Asner Family Center.
We're walking for the Ed Asner Family Center.
Hi! Oh, hi! We're walking for the Ed Asner Family Center. I'm with it. Let's go! Come on!
Hi, I'm Ed Asner, and I want to thank you for walking for the Ed Asner Family Center.
Hello, happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to another Center at Home with me, Navah Asner, and the Masked Man.
I can talk.
Yes. I just wanted to show you guys, if you sign up for our amazing Unity Walk, this is what you're going to get. And it's one of our hot off the presses. And it's actually a really comfortable mask, isn't it?
I'm being Vanna White.
It's very comfortable, though, isn't it?
It's very comfortable.
And it's the center orange, of course.
Breathable material.
We're going to be doing our Unity Walk. And today's actually a really perfect day for you to sign up because today is Juneteenth. I always say that wrong. And it's a very important day. Hopefully this is going to be today will be made into a national holiday. And this is a great sign of unity and a great something that you can give back and help the Ed Asner Family Center by joining our walk. And
Which you just saw a commercial for.
And every show, we're going to show you another item that you can
this is the mask.
Fundraise for. And this is the mask. So go out and sign up and join a team or start your own team.
Okay. And now.
The unveiling.
Here we go. So do I look different?
You look very different.
Really?
There's something different about you.
I got
you look a little hairless.
I got a haircut.
You look like a hairless
I
chihuahua.
actually did it myself. Does it look like I did it myself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, you did it, and then you came out.
I needed some help.
I helped you a little bit.
You
but
did.
It's pretty.
You did a great job.
I'm still getting used to it.
I love it. It's become my stimming.
You
thing.
love it?
Like I just do this all the time. I do actually. I love it.
Really?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
I do. It's exciting for me. I don't know. It's liberating.
It's not my. It's
liberating.
I don't think it's your best look.
Really?
No.
You're not attracted to me?
I'm not going to admit that on national TV.
Oh, okay.
But through thick and thin, right?
Of course.
In good health and goodness and health.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on.
Okay.
So we're not going to have Chelsea on today, unfortunately.
But fortunately,
we have other people.
Yes, and I thought it would be great to bring in our community.
Well, before we do that, though, let's banter a little bit.
Nah.
I want to talk a little bit.
You're not the same without
Really?
your hair. It's not as funny.
Let's have a little repartee.
Okay, you start.
So since we're missing out on the Hollywood Minute, let's talk about what we're watching. What are we watching?
Well, I saw the Queen documentary with Adam Lambert last night, and I really loved it. And I loved that Adam admitted that for the people like myself who felt like Freddie was like a family member.
Right.
And that when I first saw Adam Lambert perform with Queen, I was like almost offended because he was so not Freddie. I mean, He was almost like a musical theater version of Freddie. And he says blatantly in the documentary, I'm not Freddie Mercury. I'm not trying to be Freddie Mercury. I'm doing his beautiful songs as a tribute to him in my own style. And I kind of like got past what I was feeling because I understood that was the only way that Brian May and I always forget Roger Taylor. John Taylor's the other guy.
That's Duran Duran.
But it was the only way
Bruce Deacon.
that they were willing to do it this way.
Deacon. Roger Deacon.
He wasn't in it.
Oh, he wasn't.
Not with this new band.
Oh.
And they had fallen in love with this dude
Who's the bass player?
It's a new young guy.
Oh.
So, but I mean, it was great, and you should watch it. It's on Netflix. It's really fun, and it's a lot of flashbacks to Freddie himself.
You know, I saw Queen
live.
I did. I saw them live in 1977.
I know, you told me
at the
couple times.
Fabulous Forum in Los Angeles, California, and it was the Day at the Races tour.
I never saw them, but you're a lot older than me, so that
I am a lot older than you. So it was an amazing concert, and opening for them was Thin Lizzy,
which
equally great band. I thought, yeah, it was great. One of the great concerts of all time.
Wonderful.
Yes. Well, I watched.
Now you wanted me to ask you.
I watched Cold Mountain.
That's an old movie, though, isn't it?
I know, but I it was on, and I watched it.
Is it the
I
one
watched it with Will.
Jennifer?
It's the one with
Garner. Jennifer.
No.
Lawrence.
No. It's got Bridget Jones' Diary.
Oh, I'm thinking of something.
Judy Garland. You know what's her name?
Oh, Renee Zellweger.
It had Renee Zellweger and Nicole Kidman and Jude Law. I think it was probably the best I've seen Jude Law. It was really interesting. It's a Civil War film, and Will and I watched it last night, and it was great.
Okay.
So here we are, show 13. Hopefully not an unlucky number, because I actually labeled the shows before they go on. So we're actually on show 13. 13 weeks of Center at Home. Center at Home coming to you every Friday at 3 o'clock. And what do we talk about? We talk about what we're doing. What we're doing during this whole thing. Let's talk a little bit about the pandemic. Lots of news coming out of these big states that that they're going in the wrong direction, including California. Florida yesterday released that we've had more coronavirus cases in the last 24 hours than I think anyone has in the U.S.
Well, we're getting a false
really headed in the wrong direction.
Everyone had a false sense of security, I think, and then
I think so. And
now we're going to pay the price, maybe. God willing.
Governor Newsom has put a mask order in effect, so it's going to be very dangerous. You got Trump in Oklahoma.
But I still see a lot of people not wearing masks.
You got Trump in Oklahoma tomorrow. He's going to be at an indoor rally in
Did
Tulsa.
You see the thing where
with no mask?
He had put an ad in Craigslist where it said, "Ethnic actors wanted for pay."
No,
for pay.
I don't know anything about that.
It was an ad
into dangerous territory there.
It was an ad in Craigslist that he had asked people to show up.
Wow.
And that they were going to be paid, and it didn't say what the event was. It just said.
You have to show me this.
Huh?
You have to show it to me.
Was all over. It was like a viral
post. I have not seen it.
And somebody put it down when somebody got wind of it. But
wow.
Anyway, so
you heard it here first.
We are going to would like to bring in our community service coordinator, and our Shelby works with us. Her family is part of our family now.
She's
in the
become
center.
Part of our family.
And her daughter, Zoe, has been a camp ed camper for a few sessions, and an amazing artist. And I wanted Shelby to give us kind of a check-in with our community people, and just ask, you can ask a question, or what, out in the community, what is it that you're needing? What is it that you're feeling? And I think Shelby can give a great example, because the majority of our community are single moms like Shelby. The majority of our community are really struggling because they're now gone from online learning to still at home. And now at least online learning gave kids something that they had to check in and do every day. And now you're facing a real kind of empty period. And it's very difficult for parents. And I think Shelby can give us a really great example and perspective on that. And let's bring Shelby in, who's wearing her.
Hello.
She's wearing her mask.
We walk
It
together.
will be. Yes. I'm going to. It is actually very, very comfortable.
Yeah,
So
it is.
sign up today so you can get one of these.
Super
yourself,
soft.
Okay. So yeah, we've been. Navah and I, Matt, we all get a lot of emails and get phone calls. Phones are coming into me as well. And we're getting a lot of parents asking about our counseling right now. That is still going on. It's telehealth right now. And it's so needed right now. So needed. Chris Assad, as you know, is our mental health director. And she can be reached at 818-855-2199. I believe that is the correct number. And she will be happy to get you all set up and everything. And it's low cost for payments for the counseling sessions, and it's like I said, it's so needed for everybody in the family, from the child up into the grandparents, the aunts, to the uncles, sisters, brothers, everybody. So I totally tell you to reach out to them. I myself, as a parent of a child with autism right now, have had, and a single parent, I've had my struggles with pretty much just making sure that she is preoccupied. She's 12 years old. She's ADHD as well. And so we are pretty much, now that school is over, that was actually the hardest part with a lot of us, I know. But I wasn't doing good with that. I know I wasn't. I totally wasn't.
That's the norm. That's not the,
No, it was not good at all. So I pretty much, as soon as school ended, I said, okay, now we're going to have a plan intact, and now this is what we're going to do every day. Every day when she gets up, she makes sure she has breakfast. She only has her cell phone for a certain amount of time. She only can watch YouTube videos on the TV for a certain amount of time.
Wow.
Really? Whoa, really?
Yeah.
That's
my God. You're ahead of us.
Stringent rules.
Yeah, they can find them anywhere.
You're ahead of the game in our household.
And she has to play with the animals in our house. We have 2 pets. We have a dog and a cat. She has to play with them every day as well. And that's not a hard thing to do. And I just gave her some chores, and she's going to make a certain amount of money a week.
That's great.
So she can do that.
We tried the chore thing.
Yeah, that
and
did not work out.
Yeah, it's been a rocky.
It's a reminder every day, and I put it up in the kitchen. It's in the kitchen so she can see what her chores are every day. And she will not get the
charts are everything.
Yes.
Don't you think?
Oh my God, yeah.
Charts are everything. But there are some kids, I think Zoe's probably not one of those. She's more like Wolfie, but there's some kids that money is not really an incentive. I don't know how else to put it.
Will's a great example.
No, I was going to say Will and Eddie, they don't have an incentive to make money. Eddie just assumes that I can buy him, either I can buy him Disneyland or I can buy him a piece of gum. They're the same of value.
And that's the thing. There is no.
And Willie, he just doesn't really. Willie doesn't really ask for a lot of things.
No, he doesn't.
So when he does ask for a lot of
things,
things, when he does ask for anything, I usually get it for him.
It's like, what was the last thing? Like the last present that you got him, that we got him? Like,
well, I redid his whole room because.
No, but I mean, like for like a Hanukkah or birthday or.
He likes fuzzy socks.
So yeah, he would ask.
That's the thing.
He would ask for socks
and underwear. I mean,
when
he literally asks for socks and underwear.
He could have like a race car.
But does Zoe want? Like, does she know? Okay, I want to buy this.
No, she
Walking Dead thing.
What she's been asking for, and this is what she wants every day. Thankfully, McDonald's is pretty darn cheap for their drinks. I just get her $1 soda.
Okay, she wants. She knows that.
I don't get it daily for her. I get it as it's
a treat.
It's a treat.
Yeah,
it's totally a treat. And at the end of the week, she can have, she can get that, or she can get Little Caesars pizza because they're $5. So,
but she has to earn the money to get the treats.
She does.
That's great.
Oh, that's nice.
Really good. Wolfie is like, it's all about electronics. So he needs he'll say to me, "Oh, I need to get this." So can you let me work this weekend? And then he'll like plan his.
For Wolfie, it's Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm
it's-
kidding. I'm kidding.
What is that?
It's just, it's like cyber currency.
Yeah.
No, but
So it was a joke.
his needs are great.
Right.
So when we did the chart, the only person who actually did the chart was Wolfie. So.
Well, we also have the incentive that if she gets at least 1 or 2 tours done daily, then it's time that we can go out for our drive. And we take a
she
drive
likes that.
Well,
daily.
the interesting thing about Will is Will wants to do the chores.
Yeah.
So Will doesn't care about the money or getting paid for it. He's like, oh, it's my chore. I get to do this. This is what I get to do. I'm really
he
excited.
likes to do the chores he likes to do.
No, yeah, like feeding the cats.
Yeah.
Loves feeding the cats.
So actually, Zoe started, and just without me even asking her, she just started taking the garbage out on her
Oh,
own.
that's
And I
awesome.
just like,
Really? You don't even have to
That's-
tell her?
I would.
I
That
don't have-
she
wonderful.
gets a bonus for that.
yeah,
I think she gets a bonus
well,
because
I
I
don't
hate
know,
taking
Matt.
the trash
Will
out.
likes to take the recyclables out when he's
Yeah,
in the
he
center,
does.
so-
He does. He does.
Oh,
do
that's
that.
true.
And
Yeah.
when we,
That's true.
he loved to water the garden, the friendship garden.
Yeah.
He was very into the friendship garden, which Gary Evan, I don't know if you're watching, but you promised me that you were going to, he's going to bring his whole group of kids down and they're going to redo the whole friendship garden when
really?
we're allowed to mix again, because it looks a little sad. Don't you think?
I
We have to
haven't even
redo
looked
that.
at it.
We have to redo the friendship garden.
But when I saw her doing the garbage, I said, you know what? We just put that on as a chore since she likes to do it anyway daily. And then I'll just add a few more things that are pretty easy for her to do so she feels like she's accomplished something.
100%.
At least 2 items a day if she can do, I'm happy. So I just have her do that, and she dusts the TV stand and the coffee table. And I'm okay with that. That's enough for me. If she does that, I'm okay. And her sister has other chores. So,
Well, there we go. Well, cool.
yeah.
So why don't you, Shelby, tell us a little bit about the center and how different is your life this year than it was a year ago?
Oh,
Or has been more than that?
it's been actually, you guys walked into my former employer
Yeah.
about a year ago, a little over a year ago. And yeah, I'll never forget, because I was Facebook friends with Matt for years, and I followed both of you and everything that you guys were doing and opening the center.
Yes.
And I was an insurance broker and struggling single mom at the time, probably I think my second year into being single. And I knew that I needed to have change, and it was not easy. With Zoe and just learning just what I needed to do to help her understand everything that's going on. And I think just overall, just the stress that I was going through, I think we all do as single parents when we go, if you're going through life-changing experience like that, you really don't know how to explain it to your kid. You really don't. And when you guys walked in that day, I'll never forget, because I knew that something was going to change and it was going to be a good thing.
Yeah.
And when we ended up taking your account and I ended up working on your insurance, and I'm like seeing all these things that you guys are doing, I'm like, oh my God, I wish I could get Zoe into that. Oh my God, I don't have the money for this. Oh my God. And then I always get teary-eyed when I think about this. But when you offered me the free camp for Zoe for Camp Ed last summer, I was just like, I knew that things were going to change for me. And my employer was very grateful I'm very grateful that they were able to work with me and to have me work part-time from home and part-time there and everything, so I can get her to and from camp. And it was wonderful. And she, like you guys always say, is that she first day didn't know if she was going to really make it through or anything, if she was going to actually talk to anybody or anything.
Well,
and
that's the amazing thing for me is, when I would walk in, I met her for the first time, I think, with the first day she came to camp. And I thought to myself, oh, wow, there's a project there. That's a real project. Because she didn't want to interact.
For Navah.
Yeah, for Navah. For everyone, for the team. So she didn't want to participate really. So she kind of, and so what I saw as kind of someone looking in, was I saw this incredible progression.
Yeah.
And she gained self-confidence, and she became this person who wanted to be involved. And she did karaoke at the end of the second week, I think, or the first week maybe. And it was wonderful to see. And she really found her voice.
Really,
it was a wonderful thing. It was a wonderful thing.
It was just such a dramatic change that I think Zoe was one of our biggest success stories. I really do.
I definitely, I would like to think that too. I mean, I've seen a lot of success stories here, that's for sure. In the past, it hasn't even been a year that I've been working here, but it's been still, I guess, since last summer, just knowing these kids, getting to know them and everything, and all the parents and everything. She's to me is definitely a success story.
100%.
Yeah, and she, oh my gosh, she did so good in school too. Right after she wanted to she wanted to just socialize in school right after it happened. And, of course, this happens that we're all, social distancing. But I have to still say, though, because of the center, she was socializing more.
100%. I mean, that's what you're always talking about is the confidence building of a lot of the kids who have never had like kind of a group experience. And even with the enrichments, if even in the smaller classes, these are kids who are really coming out of their shells and really getting the peer interaction, and you see the difference in how they are at school. You see the difference in how they are when they speak to their therapists and everything. And we've had so many parents tell us about the success stories from Camp Ed. This year would have been our 5th Camp Ed, and I'm just so upset because
it's
we
difficult.
Yeah, it's very, very hard. It's for me
We've made that announcement, right?
What?
We've made the announcement.
We have. I mean, I keep holding out hope, but to me, Camp Ed is such a specific type of camp that it's all or nothing. Yeah. And it's everything I do, I want it to be really just full on and in the same level of experience for the kids. And it's just, to me, it's not the same experience. We are gonna talk about something in the next couple of weeks that we are gonna do, but I don't want to talk about it now. I don't want to jinx it, because every time we think we're like, oh, we're gonna do something, something happens, and it's nobody's fault. It's nobody's fault. It is what it is. These are weird times. But okay, so Shelby, thank you so much for staying and taking the time with us, and you're going to tell Zoe to keep up her chores.
I am.
And her auntie Navah is going to give her a bonus for taking out the trash, because that's a bogus job, and she can keep that up.
She loves doing it.
That's great.
So
it's an easy job, though, really, if you think about it.
I hate taking out the trash. That's something that
she has 2 things to take out. She has the trash can
and the recycling.
Yeah. And she has to take those both out. So
that's awesome.
Yes. So
well, keep it up, Zoe and Penny, and help your mommy. And
if you missed it this morning, Shelby and I made a delightful dish.
We did. Matt made a
you made it?
lemon chicken today.
I helped.
I can't imagine.
I made
the idea of him cooking to me is just.
I made the chicken. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
It's like saying that you could serve.
Well, I try.
Oh, okay.
I try. I've tried to serve.
Okay.
I did all right the first time I went out. Then
I've aged.
I've aged
through it.
I've aged in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So well, thanks, Shelby.
Thank you so much, Shelby.
So we have a big announcement we're making on Tuesday.
I know.
And for those out there watching, pay attention to our Facebook and our Twitter and our Instagram. We have a big announcement on Tuesday about an event. Yes, that's right, an event. An event. Can you imagine that? An event in August. So we're going to announce it, and we're excited about it. And we're announcing it on August.
It's like a chia pet.
We're going to announce it next week. Tuesday.
Okay.
Tuesday.
Excited.
Yes, it's going to be fun. Working hard on it.
All righty.
So why don't you bring in our next guest?
I'll let you do that because I don't have my glasses on and I don't want to mispronounce Melissa's company's name.
Melissa Lander is joining us. Hello, Melissa.
Hi.
Uh-oh.
Working.
What?
Can you hear me?
There you are.
Yay.
You
Never
unmuted
know.
yourself.
It's always like it's always like a roll of the dice
It is.
whether we can actually hear our guests.
So, but we do hear you. So Melissa's with a great organization called Standout Advocates, right? I got that right? Okay,
Yes,
good.
Standout Advocates.
And she's actually it's an amazing service. And so
Is that me?
I don't know what that was. That
Sound
was
like a
very strange.
microwave.
There was a little feedback, and this is the first time I've ever heard that on our show. So
I maybe need to turn something down so it's not so loud.
no, it should be fine. You should be okay. So Melissa, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do and how a family might use your services?
Hi. It's nice to see you guys. I miss
Good to
being
see
able
you.
to pop in and see you all.
I know.
It's interesting times for sure.
It is.
So I guess the best way to put it is that Standout is kind of like a concierge service for special needs families, a kind of support team who understands not only the diagnosis, but what a family has to deal with when there is a diagnosis in the family and all the things that go into it and all the trials and tribulations that we can go through. And not everybody gets the same ride. Not everybody gets the right information. And as parents with special needs, I don't know if you guys felt this way, but when my son was diagnosed at age 3.5, I didn't know anybody, and I didn't know what a regional center was, and I didn't know where to go or what to do to get the things I needed. And I did get lucky, but also people don't get lucky. So we have had people, and you're really at a roll of the dice as to whether or not you're getting what you don't even know about. And not only did you not know about it, but people had the ability to tell you. Sometimes even your own people who are close friends have a service and you didn't even know about it because you just don't know what you don't know. And everybody isn't quite sure how the system works and how you navigate it. And so we kind of...
And there's no guide, is there?
There are certainly,
it's different for everyone. Like you're saying, it's different.
You have to understand the whole system. And that's the problem is, so everybody can kind of get stuck in part of the system, whether it's denied regional center services, being told that you had 100% parent participation cost, or IHSS, said that that your kid's not eligible, or whatever it is. And as social workers, as parents who are in desperate need of a guiding form of support, assumes that when you apply to the regional center or for testing from an IEP, or you say to your teacher, do you think he has autism? You don't know on the other end that there's this entire system set up that doesn't let you have access to it unless you have a magic word. And so
it is. It's like what is that? The Grimm's fairy tales where it's like, unless you said the right name of Rumpelstiltskin, you didn't say it right. Because it's all about wordage. It's all about wordage. If you don't, I remember Eddie wet the bed forever, but he was so big, he couldn't fit into regular diapers. And I was a single mom. I was struggling. I couldn't afford these friggin' diapers. And my coordinator, who is still my same coordinator, she said to me, I'm not supposed to say this, but we can cover diapers. And I thought, that's cruel that they're able to help me with this cost that it was really like changed my day-to-day life, but they're not supposed to really.
These diapers are expensive.
They're incredibly expensive.
For large sizes,
no, it's like he needed Depends basically, like men's sizes.
Yeah.
And that's essentially the problem is that, and then let's not forget like kind of major revenue streams like IHSS that people are looking at only when they're desperate, only when they're economically going to be devastated by what's happening around them. That shouldn't be when you get started. If done right, it becomes a really good foundation that can be supported lifelong. You know, I think that when we started this business, like I didn't know my son would grow up. Like he's 14 now. Like I didn't know, and that like happens. Like I just didn't have the ability to think that far ahead. And really, we do it like we're in boot camp every time. You know.
Yeah.
So, but if you do it right, then the system is beautiful and is set up for our families to be able to choose a meaningful existence that they choose, not the state chooses, not that mental facility chooses. We have a real chance here of really having a dynamic community that can, maybe my son doesn't live independently in life. I don't know what the answer will be, but I know that I don't actually, if he can't live independent, maybe he lives semi-independently. Maybe our boys become buddies and they have a house of 4 and, you know, someone who makes sure that the groceries are in and that everybody is paying their rent on time and is not spending too much money or doing something they shouldn't do or whatever. We have that option here, but yet because of the nature of the way it's set up, those people who we are told are social workers here to help us also have a budget that they have to follow, a supervisor that they have to get an okay from. And so there's a system that is set up to almost sometimes prevent parents from learning what they need to know to properly advocate.
And that's the problem with everything, isn't it? I mean, that, you know, in regards to, you know, disabilities and autism, whatever you want to, you know, whichever area you want to look in, is you've got this situation where if you give everyone everything they need, then the system will break. It will. Mm-hmm. That's why they create this. They create this world.
Opposite, though, too, because technically. Sorry.
But I mean, I guess the point I'm proving, whether that's right or not, I think that's what the government.
That's
thinks.
what they say.
And that's what the government thinks. They think if everyone comes to us and says, "Hey, I need everything that I need," and it'll break the system. Mm-hmm. The fact is,
I would argue that that's not how they feel. They are actually more worried about paperwork, I think, and budgetary issues.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, though. I'm talking about budgetary issues.
But
so
when you go to but the low level, yes. But then on the higher level, the argument opposite is that your son and my son cost way more if we go under. As parents.
Of course. But that's what I'm trying to say is that they don't look at the full picture. They don't look 10, 20 years down the road. They look 5 years down the road. They look a year down the road. Actually, they look a year down the road.
They will look at this second, right this minute, nothing the second before or the second after, and I'm not going to put my name on it. And
no, exactly. And so to the government, to the people that are doing this, you know, they're looking down the road and they're seeing, you just said something interesting, which was, you know, you never saw your child as an adult.
Yeah.
You always saw him as a child. You could not foresee him being an adult.
Have the ability to foresee how he would adapt long term.
And I think most parents feel that because they're going through it. They're going through it, so they feel, you know,
until it's too late and you wake up and you need adult services.
Of course.
And you're like, wait a minute, I should have thought of that when they were 12, 14.
And many people have said it. Many people have said it. Yeah, many people have said it. Joe Montani was on like a couple weeks ago, and he said that you know, people are adults a lot longer than they are children.
Yeah.
Oh, very much so.
And you know, so you're gonna need adult services for 60, 70 years, and
your lifespan. That's why there is the institutional deemings category for Medi-Cal waivers, and that's why when somebody told you that you'd have 100% parent participation costs and didn't inform you that there's a waiver that would allow you an income exemption, there's a reason for that, because we're expected to have wealth beyond our own lifetimes for our child, who should be able to do that on their own. Thus, the state says, and then every single time you go into a conversation with any of them is, if something happens to my child, because I can no longer afford to look after him because of my inability to work or provide, then my child will go into your system at age 14 and he is not expected to leave it ever. So you are going to be spending in what the state says. And when you talk to them, you have to make sure you understand that it's $250,000 a year in home health costs every single year if my child goes into the system. So that's why that waiver is in place, to say you don't have to do that because you're expected to have wealth for much longer than you were expected. So we're going to help you. You take care of this child and give them a better trajectory so that you don't have to work as much, because that's the best care. If your child goes into the system, they have to vet them. They have to background check them. They have to pay their insurance. They have to pay their, sick leave. They have to, for parents, what they do, they give us that ability to have a tax-free income, reduce our hours and keep our whole family together, keep our marriages together, keep our siblings okay, be able to take that time off. That's why we started a business, because we couldn't work full time. I could not have a boss because both she and I have kids that, boom, you might have to run at any moment. We are the givers for them, and we will be looking after them well beyond their lifetimes. So that's why this system isn't. So anyone who says that you don't get access to the service, you say, well, you don't understand then the law that you're supposed to be abiding by, which is that we have the right to choose that existence as a family, and that's not your right. So you need to, you need to get out of my way, or else you're going to be giving a hefty bill to the state when I'm not able to either physically or monetarily take care of my child. That's going to be your expense from then on in.
So, and you just mentioned earlier, you do this because you had your own experience. You have a son on the spectrum, and you had to go through all of this and learn all of this on your own, basically.
And I lost out big time. I did not know about Medicaid waivers. We were told things that weren't necessarily right. But I think I just fell into an amazing program, which is called the ECPHP program at UCLA, which really kind of was the impetus. It's this place where you got kind of this full 360-degree view of what you were dealing with. And that's where kind of that passion for helping other people to just not get as far behind, or as, because there were times that we were terrified what was going to happen. Yeah. And we couldn't even, my daughter had open heart surgery and she was no longer insurable in Miami at that point because she had a pre-existing condition. And so we came here, no friends, no family, didn't have a person. Nobody believed my son had autism. Everyone was telling me, I just, it was, we had to, do it this way. And I had to fall my way through. You just kind of stumble your way through it. But then you sit next to someone and you're like, oh yeah, I just asked, of course you do. And these are people who have nonverbal children who are 29 years old. And but those families, some people used to get hung up on and never knew that they needed to get a denial letter, because if there's no denial letter, there's no proof. And that it's a negotiated system. Like, you've got to just keep being relentless. Being an attorney wouldn't have helped me at all. Being a relentless parent is what I learned, which is just don't say no for an answer. I don't care if I'm annoying you, but this is what needs to happen right now. So get out of my way.
The thing is, though, I think what makes your service so important is that, you're going through life and you're trying to just keep your head above water. And for me, it was the overwhelming load of paperwork. And that's what everyone I've talked to has said. Yeah. It's like, well, okay, you barely have time to brush your teeth. And then when you finally look at this pile that's been sitting on your desk for God knows how long, it seems overwhelming to the point where you just say, I was going to say a bad word, but you're just like, forget it. I'm not going to do this. I don't have time for this. I'm just going to stay on my hamster. I'm going to stay on my hamster wheel and just keep my head just barely above water. And imagine then, the parents who
you just hold on for dear life.
Yeah, exactly. And then imagine the parents who can't even read the wordage. That English is their second language. It's like, forget about it. It's insane. And you and I both, I remember when we met Melissa, we still don't have services just because we were so overwhelmed with our day-to-day lives, getting the center going, doing our this, going on that. And it's a lame excuse. It really is. So if you are in a position like that, and most people who have special needs kids are in an overwhelmed, anxiety-ridden, and then you add the stay-at-home orders, the pandemic, the anxiety, everyone who, even the people who are completely even-keeled and almost robotic in their even-keeledness are going off the charts right now, because everyone, after a certain amount of time, they start to lose it. All of this is cumulative, and our stress is a daily thing.
It's stressful for
I
everyone.
would think now above any time is the time to call Melissa and say, okay, I need help. I'm overwhelmed, and how can help me get the services that they deserve.
Like you said, like, tell me what you don't know. Like, let me tell you what you don't know about right now.
Yeah.
You called me for this reason. I'm going to tell you the things that you need to know because nobody told you what you needed to know. And so I'm going to make sure that, and that's what we do, is to go, no, we're going to keep going this direction. We're going to, fill out paperwork. I know it's tedious, but understand that if they're not going to be looking at it as income-based because it's waived regardless of the income level. You don't know. And it's about going, no, stick with this. Keep going. No, they're not, no, your teacher isn't going to tell you what you need to know because your teacher's being told that they're not allowed to say those things, because if they say those things, then they have to give it to you legally. So they're told they can't. You need to stop looking at them. My favorite one is always just, how uninformed families are informed wrongly all the time. And so what we wanted to do was be a vehicle. Like I always say to people, like, the information is always free. It should have always been free before. It's supposed to have been accessible to everyone, and it's not. And the only reason we know it was not because when we started we knew it. It's because we do it every single day, all day long. So a case can take, we have a case of an 18-year-old, we were just looking over the reports, who has never been, he had cerebral palsy and was a regional center consumers. He has very little, he has basic language, but no academic abilities. But he's been refused services based on the fact that he has an orthopedic impairment on his IEP records, because they didn't give him another diagnosis at the same time of a mental impairment, thus cutting off services and allowing the regional center not to give any services, and then to refuse IHSS based on the fact that it's his own mental ability. He's able to decide when he's in danger, things like that. Your paperwork may think you only have one problem, but the problem is you have lots of problems, and each one of them will feed into each other because you don't have everything right. So usually it takes about a year to get that solid basis firmly, situated. And I would say that probably in the length of time, even though we had a false start for a while, but you see how things start moving and how those walls you thought would not let you enter are enterable and are very simple and easy to do. You just needed to know how that situation needs to be navigated. At an IEP, if you have a child who needs physical assistance, that guy, you're going to be up and out in that IEP until you go, hold on a second, I'd like to talk about some equipment they need. Let's talk about some equipment. We really need a gait trainer. We really need a new high chair. These are all, we need to outfit a vehicle to be able to transport in and out, and and you can do this, type of thing. And then it's like, oh well, now you've said the magic word, let's talk about it. And then they're like this, and you're like, well, but you were just about to walk out the door. Why didn't you tell them? Why did I have to ask you specifically for that equipment? Why didn't you ask what kind of equipment they might need? What kind of help can I give you? Not tell you that there's 100% participation cost, not tell you about a waiver, and then tell you that you'll have to pay 100%. And so you say, no, thank you. And what would be the point? And we all do it. And that allows for families to get even far. And then you take that to the school district, someone who is denied because they don't have autism because there's no diagnosis, and you're expecting your school district to diagnose, they can't. They're not allowed to. They don't make diagnoses. So all those little steps add up into a really big problem when you are desperately in need. So do it slowly, controlled, but anybody can call at any time. We always want to be there to help. If we can always at least tell people what they need to know to get that next step through, to understand their system better, to give them some ammunition to work with, how you go about preparing a case. And people can go off and do it on their own. That's a great marketing tool. And if people get stuck, we're still here, but I needed somebody. When I started, I needed a team member and I didn't have one. And so now we hope to be that for people, whether they hire us or not, a place where people can find out what they needed to know when nobody else told them.
Melissa, how if someone wants to check you out,
how do they reach
ask you questions and use your service, how do they reach you?
So we have everyone has my cell phone. It's not really hard to get. So I usually leave my cell phone. That way people know that they can always get a hold of you if they need it. Because when you're facing a very trying time with your child with disabilities, nobody can understand it. And people's advice to you won't make sense in your world. And so it's hard to find somebody who can really understand and help and understand how 5150 holds happen, or how to, all those different little things, so we have a group, info at Standout. We just started so that people can come on and actually show us their documentation, and we'd be able to do it in a separate room. And that way we're just kind of doing free access stuff. And then of course,
Info at standout.com.
Yeah, we're www.standoutadvocates.com, or Melissa at Standout Advocates, info at Standout. I'll link it to you guys. And we have an 844 number, but you can always find us on social media. We try to have, lives and hopefully get as many people talking as possible, because right now there's a lot of us feeling very, very alone. And there are things, and I actually want to talk to you about what you guys are doing for camp, because I'm getting some information on how some camps are starting to run. So I wanted to hear, what's going on with you guys.
Great. Well,
I mean, we're going to like kind of debut what we're going to offer this summer. We aren't going to do,
wait a week.
We aren't going to do camp the way that we did camp before. And the reason being is we don't want to exclude some kids. We don't want to do camp in the way that the guidelines are having us do, just because it's not the same camp experience for us. And we don't also want to do a purely virtual camp either, because I think after, I don't know about you, but after all of these months of doing the online learning, the last thing my kids want to do is sit in front of the computer and have more screen time. So we are going to have enrichments, and we're going to have enrichments that are longer than a regular enrichment. So I'm trying to think how we can kind of pitch it as a mini camp, but it's definitely not going to be a full camp. I mean, it's just not physically possible this year. But we are going to try to get that going after 4th of July. So it would be 3 days a week, enrichments at the center, and sticking to the guidelines of health for sure. I mean, there's some pretty stringent guidelines that have to be
I'm looking at them too. They're very stringent.
And it's hard, because I know a lot of our friends just won't wear masks at all. They physically can't wear them. It's very difficult, and it's hard for me to turn kids away. But we have to keep everyone healthy. That's the most important thing. And we're going to really, really push to be able to have enrichment start after the 4th of July.
I hope so.
I know. Are you on some of these mommy blogs?
Oh,
I mean, it's crazy.
I mean,
I'm on like 4 of them, and
on the same one.
A couple of them are Jewish and a couple of them are not Jewish. But I mean, it's about a 50-50 split, where 50% of the moms just would send their kids to any camp just to get rid of them. And 50% are really, concerned, and they're just, they're fearful of their kids getting sick. And I don't blame them. I'm right there in the middle. I'm right there.
And needing to be afraid if something happens to you, how your child will be taken care of if something happens to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
People lose their jobs, don't have work. I mean, that's what's happening right now. It's
I mean, it's an impossible situation for everyone. You know, for us, we have 3 kids, and all 3 of them were involved in camp in some capacity. Our eldest was a counselor, and you know, it's very difficult to look down the barrel of week after week of not having a schedule, not having any kind of daily kind of routine for the kids or enrichment. So we definitely want to step it up and not just have virtual going during the summer, but we have to do it the right way for sure.
Oh, absolutely. You don't want to be closed down. You don't want to, when you open, be closing again. You have to.
No.
Well, and that could happen anyway. I mean, if we have some uptick that's just out of control, and that's what I've said to everyone, because I'm fielding calls all day long from parents wanting, an answer about what's happening. And I say, this is a hope. It's nothing is set in stone, because every day there's a new change and
everything changes. Everything.
Yeah, we were looking down the barrel of opening full on, and then things changed again. So it's all up in the air, and nobody knows what tomorrow's going to bring at this point.
But we're hopeful.
Yes,
we are hopeful.
We are hopeful. So we're going to put. Oh, you did. You did. So everyone, reach out, and if you have questions, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you need some extra support. Melissa handles all special needs families, not just autism like us. That's why we love her. And so reach out and talk to Melissa and her partner,
Marlene Lueck.
Marlene. And so Melissa and Marlene, reach out to them and they can help you and take some of the load off. Isn't that the most important thing? Taking some of the load off.
And also it's having, I think that a lot of times it's the community that you didn't know you wanted to be a part of, to see that actually, like I'll tell people, like, you can, like I know that like dipping your toe in the pool, it seems scary enough, but once you get in, it's okay in here. Like we're okay. We all have a sense of humor now, way more than we did. Yeah. Some of us, all of us are in a different place but we're all okay. And we're all, and there's strength, there's blessings to be had all over the place. And now for us, it's our life's calling to help those families that we would have never been able to know about had we not, been in that same pool together. And we can do a lot of really good stuff. And for families right now that are really struggling, it's hard because I prefer always to do it slow and controlled and quietly and just kind of move forward and then it's done. But some people they jump in screaming because there's no other choice. We try to avoid that as much as possible. But if you have to, at least to have someone to call to say, what do I need to know right now? Because I don't know what to do. And it's a really scary feeling for parents and right now, especially with school, we don't know what's going to happen with our IEPs, our regional center services. That are we going to be? They've cut the budget for regional center. Schools are not going to be able to be fully 5 days a week for all kids. How is that going to affect our kids with special needs? How do we have one-to-one A's? How's all this stuff going to? But we can look at it as our opportunity to help make a brighter future than kind of there was before, really, because it was all not that great anyway. So maybe start and figure out the ways that we can all move forward together. And I'm actually very interested in this idea of like these little eco-pod families who are testing and then building kind of this pod structure so that if you do have to quarantine, you quarantine as a whole. And you all move forward, and all you have to do is isolate somebody for a certain period of time, very small, not 4 or 5 months from their community. And that person can leave, become, be able to be ill if they are, or get better, and then come back into that system without having to make every single person in the entire world not join you. There are ways of breaking those families down. And I'm really interested in that as a kind of a middle ground, if for nothing else, to be able to find a way that if there were another
second wave,
we can all cling back into almost like a magnet pod. I always told them like Israel, where there were kibbutzim all over. And then when, they won the independence war, then there was an infrastructure waiting there. There was already those supports in place. When you have a travesty, if your supports are in place, it's not nearly as scary. You'll be able to survive much better and we all go into an action place. And then that pod of 8 families stays together. Each of those pods stay together. And then you can be in school within these pods or in that day center within these pods.
And they've started talking about this a little bit. It's called like social bubbles. I think.
I haven't really found a name for it. I'm trying it in Bell Canyon because we have a one-way in, one-way out access. Right. Using the CDC guidelines to have a small outside group, very, very low key, like a playground almost environment with no playground, but they can't have one, and try to lock that in and then try to reproduce it for others so that they don't have to be 4 months from the families that they love. We all are making, and then to allow families, in my head, it's like a co-op, because I think we need to take that fiscal responsibility in the short term for people, because nobody who has not been working for the last 3 months has any ability to hire 3 lawyers to be able to ensure that they're going to have their asses covered. And then the truth is that's all they have done is covered their asses, not covered your child. They just are making sure you're not going to get sued. I would rather say we make an agreement. These are the things we're going to do. We're going to check temperatures every day. Everyone's going to let people know and then we can roll. We can make it into a home. We can then make it into a school potentially if it needs to be. But we don't have to say goodbye to everyone. But we can say goodbye to 95% and keep the most important people together so that we can all survive mentally next.
That's the hardest part for these kids. Is just the social disconnect. It's terrible.
They're changing and they're going to be in effect way beyond the quarantine.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Melissa, thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you for what you guys doing.
Enlightening to talk to you. So appreciate it.
And thank you for our treats.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it. I'm so sad.
Thank you so much, Melissa.
We'll talk soon.
And I hope that your animal is feeling much better.
Yes.
Well. So good luck, guys, and I'm sure I'll speak to you soon enough.
Thanks, Melissa.
Bye, guys.
I didn't say it on the air. Happy birthday.
What do you mean?
I didn't say it on the air. Happy birthday.
Oh, it's over. It was just like any other day.
Oh, no.
I'm kidding.
You had a good day.
Yeah, it was a great day. It was like, regular day, but a little spice to it.
Good day.
It was good. It was good.
So
it's not the same when you can't hang with your bros.
No,
though.
of course.
It isn't.
And next birthday.
Yeah.
Next
year in Jerusalem.
So, that was our show for today. We thank you for being with us. I think it was enlightening, to say the least. Next week, same time, 3:00, and we hope you'll join us for another episode of Center at Home. And
have a great weekend.
Keep the seatbelt fastened.
We know we ask a lot from our patron and support network, and we are always so grateful for your generosity. In these challenging times, it's even harder to raise the funding we need to serve our community and achieve our goals. So we're always looking for new ways to maintain our revenue without adding additional burdens to our supporters. Today, we're excited to share a great opportunity that can really help our community and requires no additional out-of-pocket from you. We've partnered with the Liberty Company Insurance Brokers and their Liberty Cares program. Liberty Cares is simple. You already make monthly payments for your insurance needs, whether it's auto, home, or for your business. For every line of insurance you move to Liberty, they will donate 25% of the commissions they receive on your policies back to our cause. And under this special partnership arrangement, that donation will come to us again and again every year you keep your policy with Liberty. Often, you'll be able to move your insurance into this program simply by signing one form. It's that easy. The Liberty Company is one of the nation's largest insurance brokers, and they've won a number of recognitions for their excellent operations and workplace culture, so you can rest assured that you will be well taken care of. If you would like to learn more about how this new partnership with Liberty can help turn your insurance dollars into much-needed funds for our community, please visit libertycompany.com facebook.com/libertycares, or shoot them an email at libertycares@libertycompany.com. And please be sure to let them know that you're part of our community, so that they will credit the benefit of your policies back to our organization. Your ongoing support is much appreciated, so thank you in advance.